Let's talk to Angela Knight, former head of Energy UK. Angela, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
There's an awful lot of pressure now, isn't there, on the government's treasury situation and the exchequer, with Rachel Reeves looking for any place that she can find money, you know, literally down the back of the sofa, you know, in the turn-up pockets of her grandfather's trousers and all sorts of things. But it looks as though net zero is under intense pressure now because the money that they want to spend on it simply isn't there.
Yes, I mean, first of all, the Rachel Reeves business, you know, and the economy and all that sort of thing is an absolute mess.
Yeah.
And she hasn't got a grip of it. And there are some adverse consequences, really big consequences that we're all going to feel because she hasn't got a grip.
Yeah.
But if there's one area that really needs to be rethought, it is this whole net zero project. And whenever I say that, you know, people jump on me and they say, oh, well, you don't care about the environment or all that sort of thing.
Right.
Which is absolutely not true. The reality of the net zero project is that you have to take these changes, which are huge engineering changes, at a steady and sensible pace. And one of those things which has never been sensible since it was first announced, and I appreciate it was the previous government that did that, was this heat pumps.
Yeah.
Because it's almost as if, you know, a view that heat pump was a nice, comfortable little thing that you stuck in the corner of your house, and lo and behold, it provided you heat in cold weather, and it was going to be dead cheap and really pretty and all that sort of thing. And the answer is these are big, expensive pieces of kit. They work okay when you've got a well-insulated house, and when you haven't, they don't work okay, and they're expensive to run. And the support has been something like £7,500, £8,000, something like that, grant coming out from the department. If you as an individual household, you went to put one of these things in. Well, those who put it in have got a very, very mixed response because they found them expensive, they found them noisy, and of course, as I said at the start, only really work if you're insulated properly.
Right.
So if ever there was a target to stop, if ever there was something to pause and just have a think about, this is one of them.
Yeah.
There are many others. To my mind, this is a small one, relatively petty one, but it's enormously important if you're coming to the end of your, you know, your cheap and simple gas boiler. And so, yes, let's get away from some of these senseless targets and let's get back into the practicalities. And as you said at the start, Mike, you know, some of this program of the way that we're setting about changing our forms of electricity production, they're deindustrialization for this country because of the cost, because of the way, because of the fact that they're providing lack of security, and because they haven't built the steady, reliable backup at the same time.
Yeah, exactly right. Because I hear this from people who know more about energy than I do. And in the countries where heat pumps are used, they tend to be a secondary source of heat. They're not a sole source of heat. And you've said it right. You know, the reason they are okay if you have a very well insulated house is because they're not very hot. You know, and I've taken loads of calls on this subject because a lot of people, actually more people than I would have thought, have had these things installed because they've fallen for the propaganda. They've gone, okay, let me see if I can do something for the environment. And they said they had to rip out all of their radiators, they had to completely rework the heating system in the house. They had to, you know, dig up half the garden. The things are very noisy at night. They've now removed the right for neighbours to be protected because neighbours have to be at least a metre away from the heat pump. They've taken that away now to try and encourage more people to buy them, and they're just simply not very good. They don't heat the water very well, they don't heat the air very well, and I just think it's a bit of a con, and it always ends up costing people much more money than they thought.
That is correct. And of course, you know, people point to, or government points to other countries and says, well, they've got heat pumps and they're working well. And first of all, you will find that the insulation on the properties is the thing that was done first.
Yeah.
And of course, it's incredibly good. I mean, you know that from just, the Alps, Sweden, you name it, that in those cold countries, they have incredibly good insulation in the first place. Secondly, when you are putting in an installation like this, if you do it into a new house, you can adapt it into that house. But if you're doing it into an existing property, you're sticking it on the front, you're sticking it on the side, you're sticking it on the back, or right now you can stick it right up against your next door neighbour.
Well, I've got another couple of ideas where you could stick it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too early in the morning for those, Mike. It's too early in the morning. But the third as well is that don't forget that we're paying for electricity in this country between, what, 2-4 times that they're paying for it
Absolutely.
in most other countries. So we have produced here a policy which is expensive, doesn't work very well, is disappointing, and hasn't had the sense to link with what needs to be done in the first instance. And if I was going to say to anybody, well, I say it now and here, anybody, if you are going to do something about heating your house, the best thing that you can do is sort out its insulation first. Dead boring, but oh my goodness, does that make a difference to your bill?
Yeah, it really does. Good to talk to you, Angela Knight. Thank you very much indeed, former head of Energy UK.